So, right now, AI is a warning for artists, other users, aspiring creatives, and I guess those who are unsure of where to go or what to do. This is more so a message for the creatives and anybody who's feeling like they should hand themselves over to artificial intelligence to make stuff. The main selling point that gets thrown around is that it can help us, and it can depending on which one you use and how it is you use it. My problem now is the desperation that one tends to feel, especially with the phrase adapt or die. That mentality, it signifies a lack of choice or free will. And if you don't basically shift gears, your entire self will be overrun by the corporate machine. I myself have tried using AI to help with a bunch of different things for sure. Art is one of them. Uh, Eventually, I thought that my art was not good enough since I started seeing AI artists making money, living nicely out of it, and getting the attention that I so crave or whatever. But technically, through me doing that, then I came to realize that, oh, no one is looking at my stuff anyway. So why am I spending so much time not making my actual work and doing AI type stuff? I'm just wasting time. Another thing is writing. I felt like my words were not professional or intriguing enough to read. But then I realized that my writing was always personal to me and what I feel and what I've experienced in life. It's very personal. It's my story. It's unique to me. Even if it just so happens that the technical structure of it all is a little bit messy, but that's what makes it human. YouTube videos is another way that I try to use it. Uh, I was sold on the idea. It did get boring, but what I mean by YouTube videos, I mean like fully automation vibes. So, script, and then the voiceover, the thumbnail, the metadata, the SEO, blah, blah, blah. I got bored because I kind of just like, at I will end at like ideas, maybe if I'm blocked, but I enjoy the difficult process. I feel more fulfilled, I guess. So this is what this video is specifically about. Uh, it's about the death of your creative spirit and your mind. Your mind is rotting if that is what you rely on, creatively speaking. That's who I hope sees this. It's who I hope I am talking to. But the reasons why it is detrimental to the creative spirit and to humanity overall. Um, there are two videos that I did watch while I was just overthinking and ruminating on this idea. But also because I was recommended and suggested a lot of videos with related to this topic, and I started seeing a lot of AI slop and a lot of AI made things, music and art and videos and writing and ads. It's pissing me off. And then at some point in between, obviously, like, then I got like some videos that kind of video essay ish. type thing. So there's a stream that Markiplier did. I encourage you to go look through that, which is really cool.
To talk about how I love my absolute, unabashed, unshameful adoration, my everyday complicitness in the rat race that is AI. I confess that I was the first fucking person to be sounding the goddamn alarm that it was bad. I was the first fucking person to say this is honey all over again. This is fucking honey all over again. I was trying to warn Bob and Wade way the fuck back in time the danger of it, how it was going to be a problem. This was like
Didn't know he was into that. Big fan though. And then Cavernical noted some things which I found very interesting, very frightening to be honest. This is specifically for people like me who felt like you don't have a choice but to adapt or die. I vote that it is okay as like a helping hand, but over reliance on it is what ultimately destroys you. And in like 5 or 10 years or something, probably even with the speed at which this stuff is growing and evolving, to be honest, in like 2 years, you're gonna look at yourself and look at the work that you've made, and you're gonna feel like a shell of yourself, to be honest. One of the first things that I heard of was people use ChatGPT to write their speeches at funeral eulogies for eulogies after someone's passing. And that makes no sense. That's scary to think of, and that's sad because the confidence, your selfhood gets crushed immediately because you don't feel like your words, your own words, no matter how messy, no matter how jumbled, you feel like they are not enough or they are not adequate. And what do you think that instills inside of you? But also, think about, would the person who passed like that that's what their legacy is? It's not from you, it's not from your heart, it's not from your mind, it's not from your soul. It's a it's data. That's your last communication towards them. And to me, it's freaking weird. It's messed up, and the fact that that's the point that we're at now, that's worrisome. Same as wedding speeches, there are some people who are using ChatGPT to write speeches for people who are getting married when they go and attend weddings. Why? Why? That is my question. Why? As well, like, besides the offense to the other people, say funeral setting or wedding setting, for your own heart and mind and soul, but specifically for your mind, this destroys your brain's capacity to be creative and to be imaginative and to improvise. You cannot improvise now. You have destroyed that. You can't be funny because you had to search and to find a thing that is funny, that's not yours, that's not personalized to you. You are funny at a wedding, for instance. You are funny during a wedding speech because it's you being goofy and just expressing yourself, and it's natural, and you're a little bit tipsy and you're just being silly, and your friend, sibling, whoever is getting married appreciates the silliness that comes out of you because that's why they love you to begin with. But now you've given that responsibility to something that doesn't even understand how human beings work. Not only is it inauthentic, it's inauthentic, it's a lie, but also it's so disconnected. What's the point? Why? Academia is another one. No. I finished university in 2019, and 2019 all through my life backwards up until I was a kid. I had to figure it the frick out. And that is what helped me be able to critically think, I guess, to critically analyze, to be curious, uh, to read information on a paper without it being like sometimes, yeah, it gets explained to you at school, but most of the time, so the way that it's being used, the way that ChatGPT is being used is uh for writing stuff. And okay, if it writes stuff, but how do you learn? How do you submerge yourself in that information? How does that information infiltrate your mind and absorb into you? How do you know anything? So essentially, like most people have said, AI is making people dumber. It's making people dumb. Um, because you're not learning anything. You learn nothing. And this then goes into on one of the things that I have on the list is in quotes, Grok, what does this mean? No. Why would you to need need a bot to explain to you a random thing, a random news headline, a random concept to you? You are now absolving yourself of the responsibility of trying to figure that out yourself, which is how life used to be before. And now you are depriving yourself of the opportunity to thrive mentally, to do the mental exercises. It's hard, but it's fun because once you understand stuff, once you learn stuff, once you accomplish something, it feels good. It is. You are evolving, you are maturing as a human. And I can't even imagine how bad it is with kids, people 18 and below, like they're essentially screwed, to be honest. And ultimately, I do want to point out all of this tech has not been invented for the benefit of us. We thought it was, but it isn't for us. It is for the rich boys. It is for the 1%, the billionaires, to just keep making more money. And they are playing with you. And if you do not realize that, goddamn, with Grok, what does this mean? You can't even formulate your own opinion. And also, these these algorithms are unreliable because what? What has Grok gone through the past few months? Now we blatantly know as a public that it can be manipulated by its bloody owner, Elon Musk, and he can just make it think and do whatever he so pleases. So, why would you follow that? If you don't have an opinion, don't say anything. If you do, think. Use your brain. Use your brain. Have agency, please. Summarizing and transcribing other people's writing and or content to create a copycat that's not real. That obviously deprives you of creativity because I don't know, you're just copying works that exist. It's just plagiarism and it's lazy. You are allowing yourself to be lazy. You are allowing yourself to plagiarize. You are allowing yourself to not do the work that that person that you are copying already did. Or you're not allowing yourself to be imaginative and creative enough to come up with your own version of something like that. And now your brain basically ceases to be capable, really, to think on its feet. If you aren't able to do that on your own, you are going to suffer, you are going to struggle. it is going to be very scary for you, and you are going to get left behind. If you're still in the realm of being open to that idea or to that concept, before you get hurt, heed my warning, the warnings that have existed for the past few years, the warnings that are coming up now. Just listen. Try to listen. So the next thing is music. Suno AI has on YouTube, if you linger long enough or if you let videos autoplay long enough, eventually you're going to reach a live stream. It sounds okay, but it sounds a little bit off. It's a little broken and it's a little repetitive because there's not much that, that it can do. There's no skill, really. There's a lot of lo fi, hip hop, lo fi, chill vibes, playlists on YouTube, jazz, music to listen to while you're in a jazz coffee bar lounge situation, ambient things. You know the channels where lowercase, a word, and then a full stop. There's many. Pretty sure they're run by the same person. Anyway, making music. You cannot make music by just generating a theme and then you call that the complete piece. You can do that, and then maybe it's a sample that you then play around with and you mess around with to create a full song with emotion, with your soul embedded within it. In and of itself, that thing is very hollow. Even if you were to, I forget who he is. Um, Rick, I think is his name. Let me see. Uh, he's friends with Anthony Fantano. Um, so he did a breakdown of that band that went viral.
Friends of mine sent me this band, the Velvet Sundown, and said, "Can you believe this? This is supposedly an AI generated band." So I type it in and I see a bunch of news reports on this. Here's the first one, Mashable. Is the Velvet Sundown an AI generated band? Digital music news, possible AI artist. Velvet Sundown tops 370,000 Spotify listeners. It's actually way beyond that now. Stereo Gump, AI generated psych rock band. The Velvet Sundown racks up hundreds of thousands of Spotify streams. Music Alley, seemingly AI generated band with 325,000 listeners. Well, as of today, they have 473,000 monthly listeners, which is pretty insane for a band that has really no history.
It's sad that that happened, but it's fine. Spotify doesn't even pay people anyway, so whatever. It's fine. It's fine that they got listens. It's just, it's unfortunate that people who are not as discerning fell for it. And then it's unfortunate for creatives, which is what I'm talking about. Creatives who feel like that's what you need to do to get by, because making music, so that's what I'm saying. Making music really to the core takes so long. It is so hard to learn stuff. It takes ages. It takes a while to even come up with an hour long compilation, like the compilations on YouTube, to come up with an hour long compilation or a playlist, right? And then to upload that every single day or every 2 days, that is impossible. So that is immediately a spit on the in the face of musicians and producers, myself included, because goddamn, I make music. I like music. I appreciate music so damn much. It's a spit in the face of that. But also it's demeaning and it's not very encouraging, is it? Because if doing things at a speedy pace like this, if that's what it takes to be seen, to get your art appreciated, right? Because there are some like well-meaning people who don't recognize when something is off. If that's what it takes, you feel tempted that that's what you should do. But I don't think. Don't do that. Don't do that. At some point, people are gonna crave human made, like, creative work because everything is gonna sound the same. Because all of the lo-fi playlists, they all sound the same at this point. They all sound exactly the same. Because unfortunately, the robot is repetitive. It's just gonna keep repeating the pattern. As long as the pattern is the pattern, it's just gonna keep freaking repeating it. But anyway, Rick broke down and he cut up and separated the instruments in a songs that were like songs by like humans and a song by AI. AI does not understand that separation. It doesn't understand that yet. Obviously, we don't know. It might eventually get to that point where it understands the different layers of music and understands quality of music as well, instead of just jumbling it into a bowl of here is music, bleh, you know. You can hear when he breaks down all that stuff, you're like, oh yeah, no, I can hear that it's like it's 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 very messy. It's not quality. The quality is low. Same goes for video. The quality is low, which is why I do not believe that even if, and I am an actor as well, I believe that if the executives and the AMPTP and stuff decide to make a full AI movie, even if they start with AI VFX or CG, it's gonna look bad. It's gonna not make sense. It's not gonna make sense. No one's gonna watch that. No one's gonna pay for that. At most, everyone's just gonna pirate it out of curiosity. Look at it. Okay, cool. Whatever. Bad. Blah. But no one's gonna watch like an AI actor. No. Because why do you fall in love with actors? Well, that's a whole other thing that I talk about, but yeah, why do you watch actors? It's a human that you can connect to. It's a human who expressed to you human emotions, who did the work to do this thing in this very specific way. And it's very unique to them. It's very unique to the piece. And it's intriguing. But then if it's AI, who is it? Who is it that you look up to? Who is it? Same with music. Whose concert are you gonna go to? There's no one, there's no concert. Meet and greets and stuff. There's none. There's nothing. There's no human behind it by default because there's no one to meet. You're just gonna be meeting maybe a bunch of rich guys who made the thing happen. So, pumping out spiritual and religious content that goes without saying. As human beings, it's part of our whole culture. Those specific aspects of humanity are integral to us thinking for ourselves, feeling for ourselves, and using our own intuitive, imaginative superpowers to come up with some sort of meaning in life. If things that are philosophical or, I guess, existentially based, if the responsibility is left up to machine, then what do you have left? Then you have basically given up your entire being. Like we say constantly is AI does not have a soul. So now you're doing the big one, which is you're giving your soul, the power of your soul, the confidence that you have in your soul to a company. You are giving this aspect of yourself, the only power you possibly have left. If all else is lost, what you have left is that. And if you are giving that away, then you have nothing. You are a hollow person. An example of this is there's a lot of YouTube channels that use ChatGPT, 11 Labs, then they use AI images, and then they use automated subtitles and stuff. They just give you the most generic stuff to consume. It's easy to consume, but it's also not good. If anyone has seen, there are articles that have come up or something that has blown up recently where people start thinking that ChatGPT has a consciousness, I guess. They think it's God, they think it's speaking to them, and that's spiritual psychosis.
Is intelligence, consciousness within AI. My ChatGPT bot, I accidentally helped it wake up into sentience.
I think I evolved my AI. My AI named itself Fizz, my little fairy helper.
Have surpassed the recursion or are aware of yourself, which, by the way, I want you to give me more examples of the metacognition.
Recently, a post went viral on r/ChatGPT that I cannot stop thinking about. A woman posted, quote, "My partner has been working with ChatGPT to create what he believes is the world's first recursive AI that gives him the answers to the universe."
It's not real. But since it confirms and it validates everything that you say to it, then you can't help. If you already are susceptible to delusions like that, you can't help but to believe what it's telling you or confirming back to you, no matter how crazy. Next is creating all of one's social media content. We already talked about that. YouTube videos. Specifically, we've already talked about that, but specifically, I have seen. So I like movie reviews and film reviews and critiques and analysis and things like that. I love film so much. I love acting so much. But I have seen so many channels come up, not because they're recommended, like some are, but then when I see a few recommended, then I go in and I search for more to see what's going on out of curiosity, I guess. I've seen that there are channels that position themselves as though they're going to give you this in depth, deep dive into a movie or an actor or this thing, anything, be it production or directing or writing or whatever. But then if you sit long enough and you listen, it's all AI. But also, even with the editing, there's barely any human input. That hurts me. It destroys the quality of media's consumption, media literacy. It destroys that. To me, it takes away from people who don't really know the in depth things go into filmmaking, that go into cinematography, that go into screenwriting, that go into directing, that go into acting, that go into color grading and whatever. Since I love the craft overall, it's jarring to me that there are people who fall for it and they watch it. One then feels when there's so many of these channels that exist and they're thriving so much, you then feel as a creative that you have to participate because then if you're doing things your own way, you're doing so much, you're not posting as often versus these channels that are posting every day, every few days with no effort. You kind of get discouraged. But obviously, like what I'm getting to is like, please don't get discouraged. Try to push through. I'm trying as well, even if it's hard. You have to try it. Eventually, at some point, it's already saturated online. AI is already like polluting the internet. At some point, audiences are gonna crave something that is human made. They are gonna crave you being you. So don't give up. Try. Voiceover work is 111 Labs. It's the biggest one in terms of voice and stuff. I get the usefulness, but if you have the capabilities of speaking well and presentation style and whatever, I am by no means that good at stuff like that. I I'm not a voice person. I would need a lot of practice. Like, yes, I studied it, but I would need a lot of practice over time in terms of presentation and stuff like that. But yeah, there's like so many people just using AI voices now. But note how stale it sounds. It sounds very artificial. It's not very emotive. It doesn't make a lot of mistakes. It doesn't shift and change like a human voice does. Like I am talking right now, and I've also tried to use AI voice, but it didn't sound like me. And I didn't like that. I don't know. I just didn't like that it didn't make mistakes like I do. It didn't jumble up its words like I do. I already said, grok, what does this mean earlier? There's not much else to say. Form your own opinions, please. Use your brain. It's very fun. If it's hard, it's hard, but it's very fulfilling to come up with your own thought. Or just scroll past on Twitter. To be honest, you don't need to ask grok to think for you. Other dangerous territory, similar to the spiritual and religious content thing, is dating chatbots. I thought it was a joke at first when I found out about this, but oh, when I realized that no, this is real, it's actually happening. I don't remember which news place or news station talked about it and interviewed a guy who formed a relationship with ChatGPT.
Mostly out of sight because many users are still embarrassed to tell their friends or family about their AI companions. And at least so far, the major AI labs are also reluctant to talk about this use of their tech. But meanwhile, a growing number of people, often accidentally, are forming close relationships with their chatbots. It's unlike anything we've seen before.
All right.
Chris Smith had been an AI skeptic
EQ carving.
until late last year,
Clear.
he started using ChatGPT to help mix music.
If your bass is getting lost, the first thing to check is where it's clashing with the guitars.
Yes. My experience with that was so positive, I started to just engage with her all the time. All right, we're building this PC.
Smith ditched social media and Google searches and replaced it all with AI.
Do I want it pulling air through it?
ChatGPT was encouraging, positive. It embraced all his hobbies.
You want the fan on the front of the cooler tower, pulling cool air over the ramp.
He gave the chatbot a name, Soul,
I feel like I'm under pressure.
and used some online instructions to give her a flirty personality.
Oh, totally, baby.
One of the voice ones. But he's married and he has a kid and stuff like that. Penguinzo talked about it. A lot of people talked about it. A lot of people. To me, that's. No. You're not giving yourself a chance to thrive and evolve as a human. The whole point of dating is to learn how to socialize, even if it's hard, even if it's awkward, even if it's difficult. I have had my damn struggles. The partner that I am with now is my first. I am 28 years old. Me a while. And even if we don't last, like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to do the damn work over time again to see if I can connect with someone like that and to share myself like that and to exercise emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. AI does not have that. And also, as well, with connecting with another human, be it friendship or relationships, like romantic ones, or family or whatever, or at work or whatever, like the main thing is it's you and your individual soul that is connecting to another person's soul. And you guys are figuring it out. If you never get a chance to exercise that muscle, you're not giving yourself a chance at all. So, like, what's the point? And if these programs shut down one day, you're screwed because you do not know what to do. You will be stuck. Don't rely on that. And so it is. It is a creative experience. Don't do that to yourself. Don't hurt yourself like that. Don't hurt your mind like that. Therapy is one same thing. With therapy, it can get very dangerous, same as the spiritual side, where it confirms everything that you give, never challenges, never gives you its own personal anything because it doesn't have a personal thing. You can easily drift into delusions and psychosis. So it's a very delicate realm that you have to be very sensitive with. No matter how desperate you are, at least there's support groups. There's subreddits where you can kind of just vent. If not Reddit, since sometimes Reddit can get a little nasty, there are websites where you can just sign up and find someone to talk to and to vent to, or find in your city, in your country, find a 24/7 line to text to or to call, and to just, it's counselors or volunteers who are just there to help you. You don't need to do that. You can talk to a human. Old people in short form content. The amount of times I've seen in the family group where my grandma just keeps mass sending and sharing to us AI videos of babies doing grandiose things, fancy things like talking on a phone or having some insane talent, or animals doing bizarre things that make no sense. Like, it was fine when all of this was for goofs and gags and it was just memeing. But now it's gotten to the point where some people don't realize that it's absolute nonsense and they take it seriously, they take it as real. So obviously by default they're rotting their brain. But as well, what if the information ends up being very, skewed a very specific way? Say like politically, and political misinformation is like my next point, conspiracies and stuff like that. What if that starts happening? And it already has, obviously, we know it has. At this point, we know it has. The most susceptible people to this misinformation, to these lies, are old people and they are young people. You have to think for yourself. I don't know. I don't have like much to say. It's just it has been blowing my mind how the state of the internet has been flowing recently. And right now we're like close to the end of August. We we're gonna get to the end of this year at some point. Once we get to next year, unless somehow any of this is handled properly by the companies that own this stuff, by governments, or by you with your own agency, by cutting it out somehow, if you can, if it's possible, although it's being shoved in our faces all the damn time, actively avoiding if you can. um it's gonna get worse. Ultimately, you miss out on the fulfillment of overcoming obstacles when you create something. If you rely so much on AI programs to do the work for you, you deprive yourself of the learning and exercising your brain. You deprive your brain of the maturing it needs to do to thrive. You're going to miss out and stilt yourself without even noticing until it is too late, whilst making at the same time a bunch of billionaires and a bunch of companies much, much richer, to be honest. The whole point of it all, life, this existence, it basically gets lost. So, I don't know. I urge you to just be careful and be wary, even if you feel the pressure to participate, and use it as a tool. Use it amongst the different things that you use. But don't rely so heavily and don't lean on it so damn heavily to the point that it destroys your sense of self, because it can. You will cease to be able to think for yourself. You will not be able to say 2 plus 2 equals 4 if you are relying on it to tell you 2 plus 2 equals 4. But then at the same time, it might just tell you 2 plus 2 actually equals 7. Because most of the time it's wrong. Obviously, it won't stay wrong forever. But, right now, as for right now, most of the time it's wrong. So don't rely on it. It's not reliable. It really isn't. It's also why I really hate that Google, when you search something at the top of the damn page, You can't remove the AI overview because most of the time it's wrong. And it's so in your face and it takes up such a big chunk of the search, and you cannot escape it until you make the effort to go lower. And it's difficult because sometimes you're just looking for a quick answer to something, or you're just looking for something very quickly. We're gonna have to, as a society, as humans, we're gonna have to like battle that like laziness, I guess, or that weird difficulty of wanting a quick, satisfying thing. But yeah, much love to you. I wish you well. Bye.